Good morning, everybody. It is August 16th, Saturday. Those of you that are wondering, it is, hold on one second. I have to put on my regular headphones because my iPods are not behaving again. Yep, so it is Saturday, August 16th, and basically, we are 8 days, 7 minutes, and 33 seconds from the next launch of Starship. And that is going to occur on Sunday, August 24th at 6:30 p.m. So for those of you that are wondering when the next launch is to happen, it is on Sunday, August 24th at 6:30 p.m. And this is going to be integrated flight test number 10. And basically, the hope is to have a successful launch from launch pad A and then be able to take booster number 16 up into suborbit and land it back in the Indian Ocean while booster returns back and splashes down in the Gulf of Mexico. There will be no launch pad landing like in IFT-7. So for those of you looking forward to a splashdown, a launch pad landing, that's not going to happen this time around. So in a few minutes here, while we get our virtual iPhone back up and running here, we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about that um, what that report, the final report, was with regards to Starship. Give me a second here while we get our screen up and running here. There we go. Alrighty. So basically, as what happened earlier with Flight 9, which was the previous flight, and Ship 36, there was a report that contained several findings. And basically on May 27th, 2025, Starship's 9th flight test successfully lifted off at 6:36 from Starbase, Texas, which it did. It did successfully launch off the launch pad. The flight test began with the first Super Heavy booster to be reflown, starting up successfully and completing a full duration ascent burn with all 33 Raptor engines. So this was a booster that had been used before, and it was the first time that they had successfully reused a booster. During separation, Super Heavy performed the first ever deterministic flip, followed by its boost back burn. After completing the boost back burn, Super Heavy flew at a significantly higher angle of attack than previous flights during its descent back to Earth, reaching a peak angle of approximately 17 degrees. This trajectory was a flight experiment to gather data on the limits of the booster's performance. Once it reached the planned splashdown area, the booster relit 12 of the planned 13 engines. So the booster has 13 engines, but they lit 12. Shortly after the burn started, An energetic event was observed near the aft end of the vehicle, followed by the loss of telemetry. Final data was received from the booster approximately 382 seconds into flight and at approximately 1 kilometer in altitude over the designated clear zone. The most probable cause for the failure at landing burn was higher than predicted forces on the booster structure, specifically on the booster's fuel transfer tube due to the increased angle of attack experiment. Post-flight analysis showed that the vehicle loads exceeded the capabilities of the transfer tube, which is believed to have experienced a structural failure, resulting in a mixing of methane and liquid oxygen and subsequent ignition. For the remaining flight tests using the version of the Super Heavy booster, the angle of attack for the booster descent will be lowered to decrease aerodynamic forces and minimize the likelihood of structural failure. SpaceX works with an experienced global response provider to provide any debris that may wash up in South Texas and or Mexico as a result of the Starship flight test operations. During the survey of the expected debris field from the booster, there was no evidence of any floating or deceased marine life that would signal booster debris impact harmed animals in the vicinity. That's really important because there's a lot of people out there, especially here in South Texas, that believe that the animals, the sea turtles, the ocelots, the whales, even the sharks, the manatees, we don't have manatees here, are somehow harmed. And according to SpaceX, their third-party provider, response provider, ensures that any debris field is taken care of. Following a successful stage separation, the Starship upper stage lit all of its 6 Raptor engines and flew along its expected trajectory. Approximately 3 minutes into flight, the sensors in the nose cone detected a steady increase in methane levels. This continued until approximately 5 minutes into the burn, when pressure began to rapidly decrease in the main fuel tank, while pressure simultaneously increased in the nose cone. Starship systems were able to compensate for the drop in tank pressure and completed the ascent burn, achieving the planned velocity and the second stage engine cutoff, known as SECO. After engine shutdown, the elevated nose cone pressure combined with a planned nose cone venting led to a large amount of altitude error, which continued to build up until the vehicle's automatic fault systems disabled nose cone venting. The altitude error resulted in the ship automatically skipping the payload deploy objective, which was unable to be completed as the higher nose cone pressure resulted in adverse loads on the mechanism responsible for opening the payload door. The vehicle was able to gradually decrease its altitude error using reaction control thrusters until nose cone venting was re-enabled as planned. Roughly 40 seconds after nose cone vents were re-enabled, onboard cameras showed liquid methane entering the nose cone, and temperatures on multiple sensors and controllers started dropping. This eventually triggered automatic passivation commands on the vehicle, resulting in Starship skipping the in-space burn and venting all remaining propellant into space. Starship re-entered the Earth's atmosphere in a off-nominal altitude, and communication was lost during entry. Final telemetry from Starship was received approximately 46 minutes into the flight test, while the vehicle was approximately 59 kilometers in altitude and inside the designated area over the Indian Ocean. There were no autonomous flight safety system mission rule violations or initiation of the flight termination system. SpaceX led the investigation efforts with oversight from the FAA and participation from NASA, the National Transportation and Safety Board, and the United States Space Force. The most probable root cause for the loss of Starship upper stage was traced to a failure on the main fuel tank pressurization system diffuser. Cameras inside the vehicle showed a visible failure on the fuel diffuser canister, which is located inside the nose cone volume on the forward dome of the main fuel tank. While pre-flight analysis did show a predicted failure, SpaceX engineers were able to recreate the failure using flight conditions when testing at our facility in McGregor. To address the issue on upcoming flights, the fuel diffuser has been redesigned to better direct pressurized gas in the main fuel tank and substantially decrease the strain on the diffuser structure. The new design underwent a more rigorous qualification campaign, subjecting it to flight-like stresses and running for more than 10 times the expected service life with no damage. On Wednesday, June 18th, at approximately 11 p.m., the Starship Ship 36, preparing for the 10th flight test, experienced an anomaly while a test stand at Starbase. The vehicle was in the process of loading cryogenic propellant for a 6-engine static fire when a sudden energetic event resulted in the complete loss of Starship and damage to the immediate area surrounding the stand. As is the case before any test or launch, a safety zone was maintained around the test site, and all hazards remained within the safety zone. There were no reported injuries or safety violations. The most probable root cause was identified as undetectable or under-screen damage to a composite overwrap pressure vessel, COPV, in Starship's payload base section, which failed and resulted in structural failure of the vehicle, causing subsequent propellant and ignition. The COPVs in the payload section stored gaseous nitrogen for the use in Starship Environmental Control System. To address the issue, COPVs on upcoming flights will operate at reduced pressure with additional inspections and proof tests added prior to loading reactive propellants onto a vehicle. SpaceX also updated its COPV acceptance criteria and developed a new non-destructive evaluation method to determine internal COPV damage. New external covers are being added to the COPVs during their flight integration, adding an additional layer of protection and visual indication of potential damage. Every lesson learned through both flight and ground testing continues to feed directly into the designs for the next generation of Starship and Super Heavy. 2 flights remain with the current generation, each with test objectives designed to expand the envelope on vehicle capabilities as we iterate towards fully and rapidly reusable, reliable rockets. So there you go, folks. That is the official report of the failure of IFT-9, as well as the static fire explosion that occurred at the Massey site early last month. So once again, for those of you wondering, the next launch of Starship is IFT-10. It is scheduled for August 24th. That's a Sunday at 6:30 Central Time. And according to our launch countdown clock, it is 8 days, 7 minutes, 19 seconds. 8 days, 7 hours, 19 minutes, and 20 seconds before the launch of Starship IFT number 10. So we will bring it to you live here directly from um, from the studio, and I hope that everybody tunes in and basically watches the launch. But we definitely are going to have um, the uh, the launch on Sunday, August 24th, and we will bring it to you live. And we hope that you all tune in to that launch directly here from Starbase. And we're going to go ahead and now go over to our artificial intelligence engine. It is the second time we're actually using artificial intelligence powered by Grok and X. So we're going to go ahead and ask Grok a few questions. When is the scheduled flight for Starship IFT number 10?
The 10th Starship Integrated Flight Test is set for August 24th, 2025, with a launch window opening at 6:30 p.m. Central Time from Starbase, Texas.
When is Starship Integrated Flight 10 test supposed to launch?
Starship Integrated Flight Test 10 is scheduled for August 24th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Central Time from Starbase, Texas.
What are the components of the next Starship, both booster and ship?
The next Starship for Integrated Flight Test 10 will use Booster 16 and Ship 37, both Block 2 variants. The booster has 33 Raptor engines, and the ship has 6 Raptor engines, 3 sea level, and 3 vacuum. The ship also carries 8 Starlink mass simulators as payload.
What is Booster 16? What is Booster 16?
Booster 16 is the reusable Super Heavy booster designed for Starship's Integrated Flight Test 10, featuring 33 Raptor engines optimized for high thrust. It's a Block 2 variant, meaning it's an upgraded design from earlier boosters, built for improved performance and reliability during launch and landing.
So there you go, folks. There is our artificial intelligence engine. We're still testing it. We're trying to get it to integrate with the podcast, and we're having still a few issues and adjustments we have to make with regards to AI and inclusion within our podcast. But we're working towards having a robust integration of artificial intelligence with our podcast and be able to provide inquiries when needed. But we're still testing. We've only tested artificial intelligence once before. That was on a special we had last week with regards to Brownsville Water, and it did fairly well. But today we're still trying to get the integration to work with the podcast. So bear with us as we refine the technology and we get it working. But once again, for those of you wondering, Starship Integrated Flight Test number 9 is scheduled for this coming Sunday, August 24th at 6:30 p.m. We're going to bring it live to you from Starbase, Texas, and we hope that everybody tunes in to this exciting launch. And we're hoping that this time it is successful, both the launch of the booster and Super Heavy, and the landing of both vehicles, one in the Indian Ocean and the other here in the Gulf of America. So we hope that everybody tunes in. We will be having a Starship pre-launch party probably this coming Saturday, so tune into that, where we'll have additional information regarding the launch, what to expect, what the mission objectives are, as well as what's anticipated for the next launch after Starship 10. There's 2 more after that. So tune into that, and of course follow it on Sunday by the official launch. If anything changes, we will definitely let you know. Thank you all for tuning in and for watching, and we'll see you in the next few days.